you know you can do better, right? Like, you know you can make more money. You know that you're stronger. You can be stronger. You know that you can be faster. You know that you can have better relationships. You know that your entire life can be 100 times better than it currently is. Like, do you know that, right? Because if you guys knew how much potential there is inside of you and how much you're wasting, you would be so fucking mad at how low you're living. I believe in you. I know that if you were just to get exposed to what you could do, that exposure would change you, and you would start tapping into that potential, and you would feel what I feel, man. Guys, I want to do this video to really shed some light on what you're truly capable of. Okay? A lot of us, myself included, struggle with self-doubt. We struggle with imposter syndrome. We struggle with fear of failure. We struggle with believing that we can reach the levels of success that we have inside of our hearts, inside of our minds. And that struggle is what creates the behaviors that don't allow us to get the life that we want. In other words, if we constantly feel like we will never be able to create the life that we want, we're not going to have the behaviors that create the life that we want. Okay? Your thinking creates the results in your life. Your action, it's two parts, right? In order to create the life that you want, in order to create the career that you want, in order to create what you want, you have to first think about what you want, and then you have to be willing to build it with your hands. So it's 50% thought, 50% action. I was just training with a guy this morning, and we were talking about this concept of changing us. We were talking about changing your paradigm, okay? And changing your paradigm means that you change what you're capable of. It's a way of changing your potential. It's a way for you to stop playing small and start playing big. So your paradigm is basically the box that you live in, okay? And some people call it your thermostat, right? You have a certain thermostat that your finances are set to, your relationships are set to, your fitness is set to, even things like your wake up time, the time that you wake up, the foods that you eat. All of these normal things for you are part of your paradigm. How you speak, the way you behave, the way that you walk, your mannerisms, that's all part of your paradigm. And most of it, 95% of it, is stored in your subconscious, which means you're unaware that you're living your paradigm, you're just living it. Okay, it's like when you brush your teeth in the morning, do you have to think about what hand you use? No, you just do it. It's habitual. That's part of your paradigm. So a paradigm is a bunch of habits that you have that make you up and make you you. Now, when you want to really grow in life, like we all do, like you want to break that paradigm, you want to break what's familiar, and you want to level up to the new paradigm, to a new level of standard. You want better relationships, more money, but better fitness. You want a different career. You want to get into special operations versus the conventional side of the military. That's a paradigm shift. You want a life upgrade. In order to get the life upgrade, you have to change you, right? Because you are bringing you to that life. So how do you change your results in life? How do you tap into that potential? Well, me and this guy this morning, we were training down at the gym. We were hitting some chest and shoulders. I've been training since I was 14 years old. Okay, I've been training lifting weights since I might have been younger than that. I might have been more like 12, I remember the first piece of workout equipment that my dad got was like a $50 bench, and we had those concrete weights. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's basically these plastic weights, and inside of them it was made of concrete, and that's what we used to throw on the bench press and the curls or the dumbbells, because before, where I grew up, I didn't have access to a gym like today, like I have in the life I'm living now. We just had the home gym, and so our dumbbells were just the dumbbell handle, and then you would put on the concrete weight, and then you would screw on the end to keep the weight attached to the dumbbell. And it was the same thing with the barbell. And you would either screw on the end or you would clip on the end. But either way, they were concrete weights. And so I've been training since I was 14 years old. I started writing workout programs for my friends at 15 and 16 years old because when I started training myself, they wanted what I had. They said, man, you're starting to get in shape. Your arm's starting to get bigger. Your chest is starting to get bigger. How do you do that? They started asking me questions. So I just wrote them programs. And I've been doing that ever since. So I've been training for decades. But I was around this guy this morning, and he had served in the Belgium Special Forces. He was a Green Beret in the Belgium Army. And their pipeline and their training is very similar to the U.S. He went through a similar thing like as SEER school, so basically the survival school where they beat the shit out of you. You basically get tortured and you don't eat, and it's designed to teach you how to escape being a prisoner of war. So he's done some tough shit. And he's also been around some top level bodybuilders. He's been around guys like Kai Green, if you guys know Kai Green. But point is, he's been at the top of the level in the military. He's been around top people in fitness, and in business he's been around some top people too. He had his own gym for a while and he was very successful there. But as life goes, life beats us all up, and he's had some ups and some downs along his journey as well. But him and I were talking about what it's like to level up in life, to go, like for myself, to go from making less than minimum wage at some time in my life, like before I joined the military, or actually when I grew up in my small town, my grandmother used to pay me less than minimum wage to work at her little pub, her little restaurant, But then as I got into college, at a community college, I was working at a temp agency, making minimum wage. So and then when I got into the military, I was making like $1,300 or $1,500 a month. Fast forward to entrepreneurship, I've had 100K months. So that's a pretty big paradigm shift. In my fitness, when I joined the military, I struggled coming in the military and doing the 12-mile ruck march. I struggled doing that in 4 hours. 12 miles with 35 pounds on my back plus water, so maybe close to 45 pounds. I struggled completing 12 miles in 4 hours. When I left the military, I completed the 12-mile ruck march in 1 hour and 57 minutes. That's basically like running a 9 to 10 minute mile pace for 12 miles with 45 pounds on your back. That's a paradigm shift. So whether we're talking about money or relationships, or we're talking about fitness, changing the results in your life and getting that quantum leap is going to require a paradigm shift. It's going to require that you change you change your approach, you do things differently, and you change the temperature that you're set to. In other words, you got to make the decision that you don't want to do the ruck march in 4 hours anymore. You want to get to the 2 hour or under mark. In life, and with money, you got to figure out that you don't want to make $1,500 a month anymore. You want to make $1,500 a day. So all paradigm shifts that you're going to achieve in life are going to come from a decision first. And I'm telling you guys that all results in your life, the only reason why you don't have them is you haven't put in enough work, or you don't have the mindset. Mindset is the barrier that stops people from getting what they want. Mindset is the problem that stops a person from breaking their paradigm. That's what me and this guy were talking about this morning at the gym. He's trained people in fitness. I've trained people in fitness. I've helped people in business. And it's always mindset that holds people back. That is what is holding you back from tapping into your potential. Mindset is what is keeping you stuck in the familiar past. Mindset is what's keeping you returning to what's familiar. Mindset is what's keeping you at the fitness level that you're at the money that you're making, the relationships that you have. Fix your mindset and you'll fix your life. If you want to change your mindset, what you guys have to do, this is what I've learned over the years. This is what helped me get my 12-hour ruck march from 4 hours down to 2 hours. It helped me with my financial transformation. The thing that really changed my paradigm in finances, relationships, fitness, in life, okay, was you have to be exposed to the knowing doing gap. You have to know what you should be doing, what you could be doing, and you have to see the gap between that and what you are doing. When I got into the military and I was trying to do the 12-hour ruck march and I was struggling with doing it in 4 hours, I didn't even know that you could do it in underneath 2 hours. But once I got exposed to guys, I went to air assault school, and this guy at air assault school did the 12-mile ruck march in like 1 hour and 40 minutes, and I was blown the fuck away. I was like, what? I thought he cheated. I thought the guy maybe cut the field. And I accused him of it inside of my head and with a couple of friends. I said, the guy, he had to have cheated. It was nighttime. He must have cut across this field that we were running around. And to shave his time. He must have cheated. But as my military career started progressing, I started seeing that there were people that could do it in under 3 hours and under 2 hours. And as I got more exposed to what they were doing, I knew my approach was wrong. And I got exposed to the knowing doing gap. I saw the results that they were getting in fitness with the 12-mile ruck march. And I started to know what I needed to do to fix my time and get closer to theirs. I realized that most of these guys that were doing the 12-mile ruck march in under 2 hours, they were doing a combination of running and rucking. I learned with money that the guys that were making millions a month are finding a way to work for themselves. They're working nonstop from midnight to midnight, just as hustling as hard as they can. They're really good at sales. They're really good at helping people. They're really good. They have a product that people love. So when I got around the right people, I was exposed to what I knew I needed to do to get the right result that they had. And I was exposed to what I was doing that was creating my results. So if you want to change your paradigm, the first step that you guys got to do, you got to create a knowing doing gap. You have to be able to see what you know you need to do. You have to be able to see the gap between what you need to do and what you are doing. The knowing doing gap is what will tell you how to change your paradigm. When you can see the gap, you can change your habits and align yourself with what you need to do. Okay? So the first step is you got to create the knowing doing gap. And then the second step is that you have to do the doing. Once you have the gap, you understand what you need to be doing versus what you're doing. The next step is the application, right? I got to close the gap. So how do you close the gap? Well, this is what top level people do. This is what you can do. Top level people, they get around other people that keep them exposed to the knowing doing gap. So if you and I were to train, when I was training for the ruck march and trying to get underneath 2 hours, and I'm training for getting that, my times are, if I'm doing the 12-mile ruck march and I'm doing it in 2 hours, and me and you are training together, and we're training every single week, and you're at the 4-hour mark and I'm training for the 2-hour standard, well, the more we train together, the more you're going to start changing your standard to match mine. The law of exposure states that when exposed, you can't be unexposed. And when you get introduced with a new idea, your mind cannot go back to the original form. So the way that you close the knowing doing gap is you get more exposure to what you know you need to do. You hang around with better people that challenge your paradigm, people that tell you that you're not doing enough. So that's my message for you guys today. You want to change your life, you got to change your paradigm. And it starts by changing your mindset. Get around top level people. Get around people that are better than you. If you are comfortable around the friends and the family members that you are hanging around, you are not stretching your paradigm. You are conforming and being comfortable with everybody else's. You're going to match your environment. You've all heard that saying before, that we're the average of the 5 people we hang around. Okay? But people can't really break down why that's true. And the reason why it's true is because we become a product of our environment. because we constantly compare our standards of performance to our environment standards of performance. And sometimes that shit stings. Sometimes people are doing so much better than you, it fucking hurts. And you feel like the biggest piece of shit. You feel like you just suck at life. You feel like, man, this guy, he's crushing it. He must be doing something wrong. Fuck him. And you get mad. You start shouting and getting pissed off that dude is doing better than you. But the only way, if you would just bottle that emotion up and realize, instead of being angry and emotional, you switch that emotion to inspired, and you said, if he can do it, I can do it too. Then instead of pushing yourself away from what you know you need to do, you would start pushing yourself closer to what you need to do. You'd start stepping up versus, you'd felt called up versus, you'd step up versus step out. Guys, I want you to succeed. I want you to break this paradigm that's holding you back. I want you to adjust your mindset. If you guys need anything, you hit me up. I always drop my links down, and I've been dropping my links down in the description if you guys need any additional support. But the bottom line here is cultivate an environment that's conducive to your growth. Get around people that expose the knowing doing gap in your life to help you get the results that you want. And then continue to be around them and turn that competitiveness, turn that anger, that frustration into inspiration, and step up. Call yourself up versus calling yourself out. Step up, don't step out. Love you guys so much, and hope you enjoy this day. Happy Friday to everybody. Kick ass, conquer all.